Okay, good evening. My name is Larry Cash. I work in massDOT Boston office. I work in the project management section for the Highway Roadway Division. And this evening, we have this project on Route 114. It's a corridor project, complete streets and safety improvement project where we're trying to get through this very intro conceptual stage of the project where we just want to introduce the project to the town and eventually get ourselves into 25% design maybe through next year and into the beginning part of 2020. And as the board says over there, the final design and the right-of-way process would go through 2021 and into 22. So construction being the earliest, the end of the year 22. So you know, GPI is working as massDOT's design consultant for this project. Chuck Gregory will have a few words to say about the project. So that's really what we're trying to get out of this evening, is just to be able to have people come in and just very informally go around, look at the boards. They can talk about where they might be along the project, leave us some notes. You know, maybe there's like a tree or something overhanging where the sidewalk might go, proposed sidewalk, and you know, feel free to take it. You know, and anything like that, you know, any notes like that, so that we can gather from you at this early point is very helpful. So that's really what we're trying to get out of this. And you know, sometimes we learn new things from some of the businesses along the side, new development. You know, we're in touch with many of the businesses and developments in the area. We're trying to work as closely as possible with the college as well. So. And we're always in touch with the town DPW office, so it's one of these projects that's moving along, and so we're just trying to get through the conceptual stage and work our way into the preliminary design. So, Chuck, do you have any words you want to say?
No, I think you covered it all. I'm just kidding. No, Larry didn't leave me with much to talk about, but as we all know, this roadway, you know, it's 2 miles of roadway corridor that is not friendly to pedestrians or bicyclists by any stretch of the imagination. We're trying to do a design that's complete street in nature, meaning that we're going to encourage pedestrian travel, bicycle travel as well. One of the key components of this project, in fact, is creation of a shared use path that's going to be 10 feet wide with a 5-foot buffer on the south side of the project, all the way from Waverly to Willow on the far side. So I think there's going to be a lot of options for peds and bikes. Also, from the motorist standpoint, we're going to have 2 through lanes in each direction, as well as dedicated turn lanes as much as possible. So I think from a complete street standpoint, we're thinking about the motorists, we're thinking about the peds, we're thinking about the bikes. And as Larry said, we're working with the developers, we're working with businesses, trying to minimize those impacts. And we're also, you know, we sent out flyers to the residents along the corridor, trying to reach out to you all to make sure that we're minimizing those impacts to you as well. And if there's anything that you guys can share with us to help make the project better, that's even better. So again, you know, we're looking at, you know, probably about 10 to 15% design. We're still in the concept phase. We're looking at moving to 25% design this year. So we'll be, once we get through the 25% design later in 2019, we'll be coming back to everybody with the official design public hearing. So again, we can, you know, have these conversations. But we're looking at 2022, 2023 for the construction year. So plenty of time to get everything figured out and finalized, and I'm really looking forward to making this a better place for as many people as possible.
And we can work with the town office to, if there's any of the PDFs that need to be posted, you know, we can work to have those posted on the town website, and for anybody that has missed this evening, and they can feel free to look at those anytime.
Any questions while we're up here? We're gonna be here till 6:30, so, and one of the nice things about this format is it's a lot more personal. You can ask questions directly to us. You don't have to ask it for the whole audience here. We're gonna be here, so feel free to ask away. Yes?
Frustrated with where you are now in 25% design, just that the design is pretty well set at 25%, and is you still in working out some things? What would be the...
Yeah, even at 25%, we're still trying to work out some things. We're trying to establish, what, any drainage, utility impacts, and that's when we, really able to show a really good design that we feel that we can move forward. We're showing that to the public. I mean, we feel like this is a pretty decent concept right now, but it's still concept, and we haven't thought through all of the little nuts and bolts here. So there's still some time to do that. Yes.
Kind of an overall comment on one large section of the plan. I love the overall plan and the walkway and the bike path and everything that you have, but I noticed that between where the 125 bypass comes in and Mill Road, there's no sidewalk on the north side and no access to get from north to south. So if I came out of, for example, Hillside, which is near where I live, or anywhere else along that stretch, I don't have a sidewalk and I don't have a way to get to the other side. So just something to think about.
Sure, yes, and we originally did have sidewalk on the north side. In that area, as we all know, there are a lot of wetlands, and we are right up against that threshold of, we're allowed 5,000 square feet before it becomes a serious permitting issue. And so that was problematic, I guess. So, we're going to continue to, if we can get sidewalks on that side, we definitely would love to do that.
Yeah.
We haven't ruled it out yet. Right now, we haven't figured out a way to make that happen.
That's a good comment, and that's really what we would like to hear out of this evening, is that if we can get sidewalk there. Sometimes we, in order to minimize impact to wetlands, sometimes we can elevate them. We can put them in a, like one side has a boardwalk, we can look at, even if we had to, it's possible that we could talk it over with the district to see if we could do the same thing to the other side. We try to have to balance cost, but that type of structure, they can cost a lot of money, but it's also, it's what we're trying to accomplish for the project too. And if that outweighs what you would have to go through in taking all the wetlands, all of that, you don't want to cause we certainly don't want to have variance on the project. So if we can have it elevated and on a boardwalk style, then that might be something that we can look into. And, but again, things like, cost of the project, we have to weigh all that. So, but that's part of the reason why we're here at this concept stage.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Two questions, if I may. One, what was the impetus for the project? Was this stretch of highway recognized as a problem at the state level, and the state is working, I'll say, down the list of troublesome stretches, and this is now presenting itself as, and then number two, you mentioned environmental assessment and impact and so on. Is there an assessment period, and is there an impact statement that's required? And if so, when does that review fit into the schedule that you've shown for this?
Yeah, that would be going through the 25% stage. We'd have to accumulate all the impacts.
Right,
And
yeah.
officially do filings, the minimum of an E&F, I would say.
Yeah, I believe so. to answer your first question, the impetus for this project by and large was safety. There was a road safety audit done several years ago. It was pretty much along the Merrimack Valley, Merrimack College stretch. That was back in 2014. So that's sort of the creation of this project from that. So we're incorporating a lot of elements from those recommendations. And in addition, at Waverly, we just did a road safety audit this past summer. So we're incorporating elements of that. So safety is a huge part of this. Certainly congestion, as everybody knows, is an issue through here. So trying to address capacity for motorists as well. And while we're here, we certainly don't want to forget about the peds and need for bicycles as well. But certainly, as we go forward, you know, we're trying to keep track of all of our environmental impacts, trying to minimize our footprint as much as possible, because we have between 125 bypass and Willow, we do have that stretch of wetlands that goes up right up against each side of the roadway today, which is 3 lanes, right? It's 1 lane east, 1 lane west, and a center turn lane. So in order for us to get 2 through lanes in each direction, a center turn lane, and a shared use path, and a sidewalk, we're trying to see what we can do, either minimizing, maybe for a stretch, not having a shared use, not shared use, a 2-way continuous center turn lane. We're trying to see what we can do to minimize those impacts, because, you know, when you're talking about environmental impacts, it's, you know, avoid, minimize, mitigate, and those are your things you're trying to do. So we're trying to avoid as much as possible.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, the corridor study identified a lot of areas that were, you know, just had poor pedestrian connections to different streets and, you know, to different stores in the area. Around the college always had that kind of, in the frontage there, that the island and the 2-way. So you have signals, and then you come to that stretch, and for a short distance it feels like a speedway, and you know, so there's that kind of like disconnect through this whole 2-mile stretch. And coming in from the Lawrence area and then coming up the hill, you know, that at periods of the day that can backs up to the interchange. And so, you know, some of the improvements that we're going to try to make at Waverly by having a left turn installed going up the hill there to go on to Waverly, that would help free up the other 2 lanes, which would keep the movement going up the hill there. Because I think once the trucks block that entranceway there, like where the signal is, then it tends to back up rather easy. So having a left turn there would definitely be helpful. So that would just be like one example.
Yeah.